When a soul departs through the act of suicide, it experiences a profound transition unlike any other. The initial moments after crossing are characterized by what can only be described as a cosmic bewilderment, neither punishment nor reward, but rather an intensely heightened awareness. Many souls report experiencing what we might call a suspended animation. Time ceases to function in linear fashion. The pain that drove them to their final decision doesn't immediately vanish as they might have hoped. Instead, it transforms into a different vibration, one that carries both the echo of their earthly suffering and a new awareness of the ripple effects their departure has created. The soul typically experiences three distinct phases in these initial moments. First comes the disorientation, a profound sense of being both everywhere and nowhere. The physical vessel is gone, yet the consciousness remains fully intact, often more lucid than it ever was during physical existence. This clarity can be both illuminating and overwhelming. The second phase brings what spiritual adepts call the witnessing. Here, the departed soul observes its own physical death from a detached perspective. For those who ended their lives, this witnessing carries a unique emotional signature. The soul observes not only the moment of transition, but also the discovery of their physical body and the immediate emotional impact on those connected to them. This witnessing occurs without judgment, but with complete awareness. The third phase involves what can only be described as an emotional echo chamber. All the feelings that led to their decision, the despair, hopelessness, isolation, are experienced not as they were felt in life, but as vibrational imprints now visible from a higher perspective. Simultaneously, they feel the shockwaves of grief emanating from loved ones. These dual emotional currents create what has been described as the suspension, a state where the soul must fully acknowledge both its own pain and the pain now transferred to others. As one advanced soul who had crossed through suicide revealed through channeling, "I thought I was escaping pain, but I was merely transforming it. I wasn't punished for my choice, but I was shown its complete consequences in a way that was impossible to perceive while embodied." According to Edgar, whose readings on the afterlife remain some of the most comprehensive ever recorded, these souls aren't condemned, but are held in a space of profound compassion. The universe doesn't judge the act of suicide as sin, but rather recognizes it as the final expression of unbearable suffering. What follows is not punishment, but an intensive healing process. The initial crossing also reveals something unexpected to these souls, that the very moment they chose to depart was often the moment just before a potential shift in their earthly circumstances. Many report seeing the what could have been timeline, not as torture, but as part of their soul's education. This vision isn't meant to induce regret, but to illuminate the often invisible connections between persistence and transformation. Throughout this initial phase, these souls are never alone. Compassionate spiritual guides, often ancestors or souls with whom they shared soul contracts, approach with what can only be described as unconditional love. These guides don't rush the process or attempt to shield the soul from its necessary realizations. Instead, they stand witness, offering a presence that communicates, "We understand, we are here, there is a path forward." In the second phase of the journey, souls who have crossed through suicide enter what spiritual teachers throughout the ages have described as the chamber of self-reflection. 1. This is not a place of punishment or divine retribution, but rather a sacred space where the soul confronts itself with unprecedented clarity and compassion. The most profound revelation during this phase is that there is no external judgment awaiting these souls. No deity sits on a throne pronouncing sentence. No celestial court weighs their actions against arbitrary standards. Instead, the most exacting judge they face is their own higher consciousness, the part of themselves that holds the complete awareness of their soul's journey across many lifetimes. What occurs in this chamber is perhaps best described as a panoramic life review, but one that differs significantly from the life review experienced by souls who completed their natural life cycle. For souls who chose to exit early, This review focuses intensely on the emotional and spiritual crossroads that led to their final decision. They experience not only their own emotions, but also feel precisely how their energy affected others throughout their life journey. One spiritual medium who has connected with these souls describes the process. They see their lives not as a series of failures leading to an inevitable conclusion, but as a constellation of moments where different choices could have created different outcomes. The review isn't punitive, it's educational. The soul learns through complete understanding rather than through shame. During this self-judgment, souls often discover that what they perceived as insurmountable suffering was actually part of a larger spiritual curriculum they had chosen before incarnating. The very challenges that drove them to end their physical existence were, in many cases, carefully selected lessons designed to help them develop specific spiritual qualities, perhaps compassion, resilience, or the ability to find light in darkness. This realization doesn't come as condemnation, but as illumination. As one soul communicated through a deep trance channel, I understood that my greatest pain contained the seeds of my greatest growth. The lesson wasn't that I should have endured suffering indefinitely, but that I hadn't recognized the resources, both internal and external, that were available to me. The self-judgment phase also reveals the precise moment when the soul began to disconnect from its divine essence and purpose. Many souls report seeing clearly how they gradually lost connection with their spiritual support system, both incarnate and discarnate, often long before they consciously considered ending their life. This disconnection, rather than the final act itself, becomes the focus of healing. What's particularly remarkable about this phase is how it transforms the soul's relationship with its own past. Rather than being consumed by regret or shame, the soul develops what can only be described as spiritual compassion for its own human journey. It sees its embodied self as a beloved child who became lost and couldn't find the way home, rather than as someone who committed an unforgivable act. Throughout this self-judgment, specialized healing guides, souls who have dedicated themselves to this particular form of spiritual assistance, remain present. These aren't authority figures, but rather witnesses and facilitators. Their presence provides a crucial energetic template of unconditional acceptance that helps the reviewing soul learn to extend that same acceptance to itself. The duration of this phase varies greatly between souls. Some move through it relatively quickly, especially if they maintained some level of spiritual awareness during their physical life. Others may need what would translate to years in human time to fully process and integrate the understanding that comes with this comprehensive self-assessment. What emerges from this phase is not a condemned soul, but a wiser one, a consciousness that has gained profound insight into the relationship between suffering, choice, and growth. The soul doesn't leave this chamber burdened by cosmic guilt, but rather lightened by deeper understanding and ready to begin the actual healing process that follows. Beyond the chambers of self-reflection lies what spiritual wisdom traditions have called the healing sanctuary, a vibrational realm specifically attuned to souls who have departed through suicide. This is neither a purgatory nor a paradise, but rather a specialized spiritual hospital designed for profound soul recovery and regeneration. The sanctuary exists in what might be called the middle astral plane, a dimensional frequency where souls are sheltered from both the denser energies of earthly existence and the higher vibrations of more elevated spiritual realms that they are not yet prepared to integrate. Here, time as we understand it has no meaning. A soul may experience what feels like centuries of healing in what would be mere moments in earthly time, or conversely, what seems like a brief respite might encompass decades in the physical dimension. Within this realm, souls encounter what ancient wisdom has called the compassionate ones, highly evolved spiritual beings who have specifically chosen to assist souls wounded by the trauma of suicide. These guides possess a quality of love so unconditional and penetrating that even the most damaged soul cannot hide from its healing power. Unlike earthly helpers who might attempt to fix or save, these beings simply hold space, their very presence radiating the vibrational truth that all is ultimately well, regardless of past choices. One remarkable aspect of the healing sanctuary is its ability to manifest as the exact environment most conducive to each individual soul's recovery. For some, it appears as a serene natural setting, perhaps a forest glade or oceanside retreat that holds significance from their earth experience. For others, it manifests as a temple of light or a simple, peaceful room. The environment itself is a living energy that responds to the soul's needs moment by moment. Within this space, the soul undergoes a process that spiritual teachers have described as energetic disentanglement. During physical life, especially one that ended in suicide, the soul's light becomes entangled with heavy emotional energies: despair, hopelessness, isolation, and often anger. These energies, if not properly released and transformed, can bind the soul to lower vibrational states and impede its natural evolution. The specialized healers in this realm help the soul identify these entanglements and gently, lovingly assist in their release. A particularly powerful healing modality in this realm involves what might be called timeline integration. Souls are shown not just the timeline they experienced, which ended in their suicide, but also parallel potential timelines that existed, paths not taken, help not sought, connections not made. This isn't done to induce regret, but rather to help the soul understand the full spectrum of possibilities that existed. Through this process, they gain crucial wisdom about choice, perception, and the often hidden resources available during times of crisis. Perhaps most significant is the healing work done around the soul's interrupted life mission. Every incarnation carries specific soul purposes: lessons to be learned, growth to be achieved, contributions to be made. Suicide interrupts this mission, leaving energetic, loose ends that require careful attention. In the sanctuary, souls work with specialized guides to understand exactly what aspects of their mission remained unfulfilled, and to create spiritual completions that honor these purposes without necessitating immediate reincarnation to try again. Many souls in this realm also receive what has been called the gift of witnessing, the ability to observe how their loved ones on earth are processing their departure. This observation isn't permitted to cause additional suffering, but is carefully guided to help the soul understand the full impact of their existence and their absence. Through this witnessing, they often discover that their life had far more meaning and created more positive impact than they were able to perceive during their darkest moments. Throughout this healing process, souls are gradually reconnected with their own divine essence, the pure spiritual energy that remains untouched by earthly trauma. As one spiritual channel described it, they begin to remember who they truly are beyond the pain that temporarily defined their human experience. This remembering is the true healing, not a forgetting of what happened, but an expansion beyond it. The healing sanctuary doesn't rush this process. Each soul is given exactly the time and space needed for complete restoration. Only when the soul has reached a state of genuine peace regarding its earth experience and suicide does it prepare to move to the next phase of its eternal journey. As souls complete their healing in the sanctuary, they enter what spiritual teachers have called the phase of reintegration, a profound process where the wisdom gained through their experience is woven into the fabric of their eternal consciousness. This integration transforms what began as tragedy into sacred knowledge that forever enriches the soul's journey. During this phase, souls experience what can only be described as a cosmic remembering, a reconnection with their complete soul history across multiple incarnations. From this expanded perspective, they see that their most recent life and its ending through suicide was not an isolated failure, but rather one chapter in an immense spiritual narrative spanning countless lifetimes. This broader context doesn't diminish the importance of what happened, but places it within a greater tapestry of soul evolution. A remarkable phenomenon occurs during reintegration. The soul discovers how its suffering and ultimate choice created unexpected ripples of compassion and awareness in the physical world. Many souls witness how their departure catalyzed important conversations about mental health, inspired loved ones to become advocates for suicide prevention, or prompted others struggling with similar challenges to seek help. As one spiritual teacher explained, no soul experience is ever wasted in the divine economy. Even our deepest pain can become someone else's healing when transformed through love's alchemy. The question of reincarnation becomes central during this phase. Contrary to some religious teachings that suggest souls who die by suicide are forced to immediately reincarnate as punishment, the spiritual reality is far more compassionate. These souls are given complete freedom of choice regarding their next steps, guided by wisdom rather than penance. Some souls do indeed choose relatively quick reincarnation, not as punishment, but as an opportunity to address unfinished soul business. Others may remain in the spiritual realms for what would be equivalent to centuries in Earth time, serving as guides or simply continuing their evolution in non-physical dimensions. The choice is based on the soul's own assessment of what will best serve its growth and the greater good. For those who choose reincarnation, there exists what spiritual adepts call the blueprint room, a realm where souls, together with advanced guides, carefully design their next life experience. Having learned profound lessons about emotional suffering, many choose life plans that will allow them to develop greater resilience while also serving others who struggle with similar challenges. Some even become powerful healers, counselors, or spiritual teachers, their own past wounds transformed into unique gifts of understanding and compassion. A crucial aspect of this reincarnation planning involves establishing stronger spiritual safety nets for the next lifetime. Souls arrange for specific energetic triggers and spiritual interventions to activate during potential crisis points, creating safeguards against repeating past patterns. They also often choose to incarnate within soul groups that include beings who can recognize and respond to their particular vulnerabilities with greater awareness. For souls who choose to remain in the spiritual dimensions rather than reincarnating, numerous paths of service open before them. Many become what spiritual traditions have called wounded healers, specialized guides who work specifically with souls in crisis, both incarnate and discarnate. Having navigated the darkest terrain of human despair, they possess a unique ability to reach those in similar states and guide them toward light. Throughout all these paths, one spiritual truth remains constant. These souls are held in profound reverence within the cosmic community. Their journey through the valley of ultimate despair has given them wisdom that more gentle paths could never provide. As one ancient teaching states, those who have walked through fire carry light that others cannot know. Perhaps the most beautiful revelation that comes during this final phase is what spiritual teachers have called the completion of the circle. Souls discover that what they perceived as a breaking of divine law was, in fact, always held within divine compassion. The act of suicide, while representing a temporary forgetting of one's divine nature, can never separate a soul from its source. As one spiritual channel expressed, the divine doesn't need to forgive because it never condemned in the first place. The journey of souls who have crossed through suicide ultimately reveals one of the most profound spiritual truths. There is no soul so wounded that it cannot be healed, no path so broken that it cannot be redeemed, and no divine love so conditional that it would ever abandon even its most troubled children. In the infinite tapestry of existence, every thread, even those that seem darkest, contributes to the beauty of the whole. If this exploration of the soul's journey has touched something deep within you, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Your subscription helps us continue creating content that explores life's profound spiritual questions. Have you experienced loss through suicide? Or do you have your own spiritual insights about the afterlife? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear today. Remember, in sharing our experiences, we create a community of understanding that transcends the physical world. Subscribe now and join our growing spiritual family as we continue to explore the mysteries that connect us all.